There is no guarantee for success, but there are ways to get closer to it when you do the right things. Who you surround yourself with is just as important as what you do. Finding the right people, the right classes, the right activities, and taking the right tests are all decisions that shape your future. Find out more today on Destination University with Dr. Cynthia Colon. Dr. Colon and her guests will give you the tips you need, whether you're a student, parent, or educator. Now, here is your host, Dr. Cynthia Colon.
You're listening to Destination University, a podcast for college-bound teens and the parents, mentors, and educators who support them. If that is you, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Cynthia Colon, your host, TEDx speaker, college admissions strategist, and the author of the book, Be Committed, Get Admitted. Welcome to Destination University. We help families successfully navigate the college admission process by helping students create an action plan, become interesting applicants, and write compelling essays that increase acceptance letters. Speaking of, I know a thing or two about that. I worked as an admission officer at Vassar College and as a private school counselor in Los Angeles. I've coached, mentored, guided, and worked directly with over 10,000 students. I know what it takes to get admitted to top 100 colleges. As my gift to you, I'm revealing the exact admission committee process we used at Vassar. It's my new guide, 4 questions admission officers ask when deciding who to admit or reject. And it is good and juicy. Oh my gosh, so good. You can go to drcynthiacolon.com/admit. So if you've ever wondered what that looks like and how we make decisions, today's your lucky day. That's drcynthiacolon.com/admit. All right, so let's get to today's episode. Now, let me get right to it. When I worked at Vassar, I always got the question about community service. And I touch on this in the guide that I give the free download, but I'm going to dig into this a little bit more here today, okay? So I'm answering that question, is community service the best way to stand out? So spoiler alert, the answer is no, okay? No, it's not. And today I'm going to walk you through something that I've been working on probably, oh my gosh, you guys, like literally this is hot off the presses. I actually introduced this in my beta test webinar a couple weeks ago. And those of you who joined our webinar that we just had, oh gosh, has it only been a week? Yeah, we had March 20th. Yeah, we just had another webinar, and I introduced this concept that I've honestly, even in my TED Talk, which was just in October of 2023, I say a lot about this, but I have not distinguished like with this much detail as I'm doing today. So this is really hot off the presses, and I think it helps really help everyone understand what it means to be involved, just having student involvement versus being a leader, and what that means and what that looks like on an application for students who are applying to top 25 colleges, top 100 colleges, top 300 colleges. Okay, so buckle up, you guys. I'm going to share my screen and give you and just dive in. I'm going to show you pretty much what I shared at the webinar, but this is just one section, right? So I didn't have time to go into detail. So I'm going to pull out just this one section of the webinar that I offered and expound on it just a bit more, because it's worth it, and we get questions about it all the time. So, okay, let me share my screen. Those of you who are listening or watching from YouTube, you can see my screen. Those of you who it's typically on Thursdays that we share screen, and I should teach you something, or I'm working with somebody that we're gonna show you something. So Thursdays, Truth Talk Thursdays, are really the days that you want to maybe tune into YouTube. Okay, so this is literally straight out of my presentation. And so it's co-curricular involvement, in the resume section of your application. Okay, so here we go. So in admissions, it really just boils down to these 5 levels. Okay, I'm calling it for now, unless I come up with a better term, but I'm calling it Dr. C's hierarchy of co-curricular involvement. So most people know Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? So it's kind of takes that sort of approach. because this is really how I could finally articulate to people what this means. Okay, so let me quickly give you a quick overview. So you see here, I'm just going to have you look at it. You see here, the bottom level, the first base level is called school involvement. So club, sports, arts, student council, community service. Then the next level, if you're not watching, if you're just listening in your car or on your run or whatever, the first level is like the red level. And then the next level up is the school leadership level. That's the orange level. Okay. Student body president, editor-in-chief, team captain, or like a state or national champion. Then the next level up is the coolness factor, the coolness project. Okay, that's the yellow level. This is like if you have a part-time job, you run an Etsy store, you know multiple languages, you have a high level of competition. Maybe you're in a club sport that's a high level. Okay, that's your coolness factor or the coolness project. Okay, the next level up is the green level. Is the coolness project that benefits a community you are passionate about. So a coolness factor or a project is something that you do, like, okay, multiple languages is a good example. Multiple languages, you know them, and they're not necessarily benefiting anybody else, but it's super cool to you because you speak 4 languages. But a impact project, which is level green, level 4, the green level, is a coolness project kind of like on steroids, right? It benefits a community that you're passionate about. So maybe you know multiple languages, maybe you know 4 languages, but you also have been teaching, a course, or you teach, you've over the last 3 years, you've taught, 50 students how to speak, 2, 3 languages or whatever. Okay. I also, I'll explain in my next few slides to give you some more. I take it from sort of the Girl Scout Gold Award. And we sort of think about that in that way. And the last level is intellectual curiosity. So published research, academic internship, deep knowledge about something. Okay. So that's sort of the overview. And again, if you're looking at it, it's this pyramid, and it's the base level is, the red, school involvement, then orange, then yellow, green, and blue. So school involvement, school leadership, coolness project, impact project, intellectual curiosity. All right, we're going to go into each one a little bit more. So here's level 1, okay? Level 1 is what everybody talks about. Those 5 things: clubs, sports, arts, student council, community service. Level 1, I'm telling you right now, there are just over 2 million applicants per year that are applying to college, okay? 2 million seniors. All of them probably have at least one of these. So if that is the level of involvement you get to, you are 1 in 2 million. Okay, level 2, school leadership. Okay, student body president, editor-in-chief. Those 2 roles, or editor-in-chief of the yearbook or the newspaper, right? Those 3 roles. There's only 1, right? Then the team captain of a major sport. So like the top girls sport, the top boys sport, maybe. So it's usually football, not always, but it's usually. And then like, whatever the major sport is. At Marymount, it was volleyball. I mean, if you were the our volleyball team went to state, made a run for state several years in a row, all the time. They were always in the running. So team captains, maybe there's 3, 4 that are like team captains of major sports at each campus, and then a state or national champion. So if a high school gets to, there's only so many high schools that will get to those levels, a state or national title in any given sport. So I think for this number, so there's about 27,000 high schools in the country. And I think I did like an average of 8. 8 is 27,000 times 8. Okay, I can't do the math off the top of my head, but it's about 12%, where I'm guessing a good guesstimation is about 12% of the applicant pool of the 2 million that I showed you on this page would likely have one of these. Okay, so it's getting smaller, it's getting narrower at the top, right? That's level 2. Remember, we have 5 levels. Okay, so often students will ask me or say, oh, okay, I'm the student body president, I'm this, I'm that. Okay, great. Well, that's helping. And yes, you're about like 12% of the pool, I would read applications. I could read days of applications, at Vassar and not list that a student was student body president or editor-in-chief, right? I mean, I don't think I could go more than 2 or 3 days, but it would be several days before I would have to write that down. Okay, so again, about 12%. All right, let's talk about level 3. Level 3 is your coolness factor or project. Okay, so now I listed here some examples. Having a part-time job. Maybe you have high family responsibilities. I've had a student a couple of years ago who, her brother had autism, I want to say, and her mom worked a late shift. And so she was in charge of helping him with his homework and doing some other things. So high level or high responsibility. During COVID is another good example. There were a lot of students who took on being a third parent because there's just so many things to do at home with all of the kids or whatever. I remember this one girl. Oh my God, she was one of 8 kids. My gosh, who has 8 kids anymore? But she had a ton of responsibilities. So she wrote a little bit about that in that year. But that was several years ago now. You might have an Etsy store, multiple languages, etc. You might be a volleyball player at Marymount High School, which is high level competition because you also probably do club sports. So we're going to guess, an educated guess, that about 10% of the population of those who are applying to college would have one of these kinds of things. Okay. So I'll give you an example to use community service, because that's always the thing. So community service level 1 is like you're in part of a club, right? Maybe you're part of Key Club or you're part of the service club. You're an ambassador at the school and you put in your hours. Level 2 would be school leadership. I mean, Key Club president isn't probably going to be really level 2. So you'd have to kind of like skip to level 3, which would be that maybe you are the Key Club president, or whatever major service organization is at your school, or outside of school, like you run the beach cleanup for all of Santa Monica. And you've helped to grow. So to use the school example, like you helped to grow the Key Club by 300% and increase the number of hours that collectively your club does by 500%. Like if you did something sort of like that, that could be a coolness project. Okay. Maybe to stay on the community service, maybe you, I'm going to use Miles as Miles lived in a community where, they were an older community. He was a young kid. He's an only child and he lived in Claremont, and a lot of the, people around were older, retired types. So maybe, let's see, maybe this is not the best example. Okay, so let's say he wanted to do something for the senior citizens of his community. He could do that. That would probably be level 4, but I'm trying to think of a good one for, maybe he just plays music, right? He likes to play the guitar, and during COVID, he just sits outside his garage, opens up the garage door, and like people gather, and he plays for a little bit. That's a little bit just like his coolness factor. He's taught himself how to play guitar or whatever, right? Okay, now let's take it to the next level. Oh, I forgot I had these good examples. Okay, Savannah. Oh, so here's a good example. Savannah. Sorry, you guys, I digress. I forgot that I had these slides right here. So Savannah's a good example. She was all in with this law enforcement explorers program locally where she grew up. They had this program. So literally she learned how to shoot a gun. She trained like a police officer. I think they went into the jails, and she did. I mean, it was a whole, I want to say several years or several summers that she had to invest in this explorers program before sort of getting, graduating. So she did that for herself to better herself. And then she leveraged that in her application. Okay. Now Cosette, she was a self-taught animator, and she met with a Disney animator along the way. That's somebody that she met through Dream College Academy. And she designed 176 slides for the Aladdin genie dance. Okay. So these are things that they did for themselves, not necessarily on their own, but, for themselves to better themselves. Those are coolness projects or coolness factors. Level 4 is impact project, a coolness project on steroids, okay, with a broader impact on a community that you're passionate about. So I just want to give you an example that the Gold Award, the Girl Scout Gold Award, only 5.4% of everyone who's eligible to do the Gold Award will actually do it. I just love this statistic. Why? Because I work with several students that do a Gold Award, and I highly encourage it because you have to solve a problem, serve a particular community that you're passionate about, and it's a minimum of 80 hours. Okay, so right off the bat, that already is an impact project. Boom. So for students that I work with that are not Girl Scouts or they're in the Scout program, the formerly Boy Scouts, but Scout program, they're doing Eagle Scout or something. If you're not in one of those programs, we're going to take the rules of what I just shared with you and kind of do our own thing. We're going to come up with a different plan for you. Okay, so let me give you, I think I have got 2 examples. Yes. Okay, perfect. Okay, so here's Miles. This is actually true. The other one I was making up. I was like making up the thing about the guitar, but this is actually a true story. So Miles, he designed and built a big font website for senior citizens in his neighborhood to order groceries during the COVID time. Okay. So he designed and built a website. Now he wanted a STEM major. He was going to computer engineering, etc. So it made sense. And then he would deliver these groceries for free. Okay. So on one hand, he was building this website, to get experience because he wanted to do it and it's something he's good at. And he's doing it for the senior citizens. So he's solving a problem for a community he's passionate about, his own community. And he's put in the hours because not only did it take time to build the website, he then would go shopping for them and deliver them. I love it's one of his essays that he wrote. So a coolness project, or on steroids, the impact project, I should say, is where 2 things merge together. First, it merges something you love to do with something you have to do. Something you love to do, in this case, Miles loved to help the neighbors in his neighborhood. Again, I said he lives in Claremont, and it's an older neighborhood, right? So he loves serving the citizens of his local community. Merging it with something he has to do, he's got to show commitment and evidence that he's committed to computer engineering, which is what he wanted to do. Computer engineering, and maybe there were two STEMs, 2 things that are like way over my head. I would never want to major in those things. And he merges those things together. So this is what an impact project is, level 4. Okay. Okay. Level 5. Level 5 is what I will often reserve for students who are basically applying to top 25 colleges that are admitting like under 10%, right? And this is the intellectual curiosity. Actually, I mean, I might even say like colleges that are admitting this is the elite, right? I want to say UCLA and USC are admitting about 10, 11%. So they're right in there. But they have a much, much bigger pool. So this is going to be, level 5 is going to be a really great to have if you're applying to places like that and have a large applicant pool, but an almost need to have if you are applying to like HYPS level schools, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Stanford. Okay. This is where you have published research, academic internship, or some deep knowledge of something, or you're like a national activist like David Hogue. And so you can look David Hogue up. Oh, I see there's a typo, so I'm going to fix it right now. So an educated guess is that there are less than 1% of students who would actually get to this level. Okay. So I just want you to think about that. Remember, we started all the way with level 1 with over 2 million applicants. Level 2, about 12% of that 2 million. Level 3, under 10% of that 2 million. Level 4, about 5.4% of that 2 million. And level 5, less than 1%. So I'm going to give you 2 examples, Ryan and Jonna. These are real students. They were part of Dream College. Ryan was part of Dream College Academy in our original cohort cohort 1. He did 2 medical internships. He self-taught himself. He's a self-taught musician and a music theory. He created hundreds of instruments that he marketed and sold. Okay. So I wrote all these things down on this particular slide because Ryan is an example of having almost all of the things. So I could have kept going. He was also he was on his baseball team. He was a student leader. So he was like level 1, level 2, level 3 would be self-taught musician, right? Like he just taught himself. Level 4 is that he created those hundreds of instruments. He created hundreds of instruments. I think he created like different beats and sounds and stuff, and then he marketed and sold them. So that's level 4, serving a different community or selling them or taking your self-taught thing to the next level. And then the 2 medical internships was even more. That's like his intellectual curiosity. Okay, so he had every level. Same with Jonna. If you look at Jonna here, she was on the debate team. She was like a school leader and ambassador. She did all the things, right? So school leader, she was an ambassador. Okay, that's level 1, right? She was the debate team champion. I'm going to put on level 2, right? Level 2 is like school leadership or a state or national or regional champion, basically, for your whatever team you're on. Level 3 was really this like mayor's youth leadership or city council. She was on that. So she was just one of like a few in her city of Chicago to be on that. And then level 4 and 5 are one and the same. So she created a podcast interviewing peers on hot topics such as race and socioeconomic status in America. This was equivalent to what would be her Girl Scout Gold Award project if she was a Girl Scout, but she was not. So she was solving a problem with a community that she's passionate about. Solving a problem, meaning this was the time during COVID. She was a junior during COVID, sophomore maybe, sophomore into junior year. Yeah. And so there was Black Lives Matter. There was all kinds of things going on in the country. And so she was solving the problem of like filling that hole. Like, how do we talk about that? And inviting her peers, people her age, to have those conversations. So serving that community that she's passionate about, listening to them, and also being able to articulate new opinions. So it was an intellectual curiosity and a project all in one. Okay. Whew. All right. So I just want to reinforce that academic qualities, your AQs are your major, your college list, your AQs, which is your transcript, your grades, your curriculum, your test scores, that contributes to your major and your college list. That will only get your foot in the door when it comes to getting admitted, actually. What will get you admitted is if you follow the hierarchy of co-curricular involvement, Dr. C's hierarchy of co-curricular involvement. Really pay attention to, like, where do you want to be? Which colleges are you trying to become eligible for? And then figure out how to get that kind of leadership on your resume. Okay. Remember, students aren't rejected. Applications are. Okay. Wow. Okay. I think I gave you some more than I thought I would. I didn't think it would be that long. I don't want to say I apologize, but I hope that you found that helpful. So on a scale of 1 to 10, please comment how helpful you found this particular episode. I'm just trying to get feedback and seeing which ones you guys you're liking the most and give you, more of that. So, okay. Whew, Lord. Okay. That is all I have for you today, my friends. Thank you for tuning in to Destination University. I'm Dr. Cynthia Cologne, your happy success expert. If this episode has in any way helped, fueled, or inspired you, please share this episode with 3 people in the next 30 minutes. Thanks for listening. You can subscribe to Destination University, YOU, wherever you get your podcast. And while you're there, please leave us a review because it helps other people just like you find us as well. And I'm going to ask you a big favor. And that is, if you have not listened to my TED Talk yet, it's on YouTube, TEDx. You can just Google my name, and the name of, if you want to Google it by the name of the talk, it's called College Admissions is Not Fair. Not fair. Okay, you can watch it. Now, I'd love to ask for you to give a thumbs up if you find it valuable, and also leave a comment, because I'm trying to graduate it and get it to go to the TED channel. Right now it's on the TEDx channel. So there you go. Also, just want to invite you to listen to all of the podcast seasons from before, starting with episode number 1, where I interview my mama. So she just loves it when I tell her that. Okay. Again, if you found today valuable, please share this episode with 3 families in the next 30 minutes. I was sure to see you next week, same time, same place. Until then, wherever you are, may you have a happy and sunny day. Bye for now. Here's the truth. For nearly 30 years, I have worked at elite private colleges and/or private high schools. I know what well-resourced families do to ensure college success, and I can tell you, if your child is enrolled at a public or religious high school, chances are she or he is already 5 steps behind. However, today is your lucky day. To get you ahead of your private school peers, I have a gift for you. I'm revealing the exact admission committee process we used at Vassar. It's all in my new guide, 4 questions admission officers ask when deciding who to admit or reject. You can go to drcynthiacolon.com/admit to get your copy. I share the 4 questions I used in the 12 minutes I had to review the entire application. If you've ever wondered what admission officers are looking for and how decisions are actually made, you're not alone. Take action now to get 5 steps ahead and begin increasing those acceptance letters. Again, that's Dr. Cynthia Colon, drcynthiacolon.com/admit. That is all I have for you today, my friends. Thank you for tuning in to Destination University. I'm Dr. Cynthia Colon. If this episode has in any way helped, fueled, or inspired you, please share this episode with 3 people in the next 30 minutes. You can subscribe to Destination University wherever you get your podcast, and while you're there, leave us a review. It sure does help a lot. By subscribing and reviewing, you help to grow the community of informed families across the nation. And if you haven't binge listened to our previous seasons, do it. With each episode, you'll learn a new tip, trick, or strategy for success. Start with episode 1, the one word every parent should remove. You'll learn my mom's secret to ensuring college success for her daughters. And once again, if you found value today, please share this episode with 3 families in the next 30 minutes. I'll be sure to see you next week, same time, same place. Until then, wherever you are, may you have a happy and sunny day. Bye for now.
Thank you so much for listening this week to Destination University. Be sure to join Dr. Cynthia Colon again and get one step closer to your success.